Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Liam's Hockey. Coming at you 2 days in a row here. Well, because there was a few incidents last night, or a few things that were pretty prevalent on the hockey scene to talk about. The most noteworthy that went viral immediately after his words were said was the Jakub Voracek interview post-Philadelphia Flyer Pittsburgh Penguin game. Now, I don't even know the name of this reporter from the Philadelphia Inquirer. I don't even know who he is. But I have to assume if he's working for a publication like that, that he undoubtedly is probably a member of the PWHA, PHWHA, I guess, Professional Hockey Writers Association. He must be, I'm assuming. And when the tweets came out with the backstory of what this guy has been saying about Voracek, going back months, in fact, even more than a year. Some of the tweets that he put, to think that anybody who is a full-time professional journalist working in the industry, because there's thousands of bloggers, there's thousands of guys do just what I'm doing right now, just putting my opinions up on a video here and posting it. For this guy to be employed by a paper full-time to cover the Flyers and say what he has done repeatedly. See, here's the thing, folks, where all the left-wing liberals don't understand. If that's two guys having a discussion like that, pretty much just about at any time in our lives, even maybe up to and including today, maybe not so much today's era, but back in the day, they're taking a walk outside. You're going outside and you're going to settle it. You got one guy who's whatever reason, has got a real bee in his bonnet about Voracek, and he's saying all these things. So Voracek, as a man, would come back and say, "Well, you got a problem with me? Yeah, I think you're a brutal hockey player. I think you should be traded 10 times on Sunday, and I wish you were off this team, and I'm going to make fun of you for the rest of my life." Well, no, I don't think so. Well, let's take a walk outside. Okay, let's go. And they'd go. You can't do that. Some of you, if you're old enough, would remember Phil Esposito when he was running the New York Rangers and confronted Bob McKenzie, the Bob father, and actually was charged for that altercation. And all he really did was grab Bob by the neck and push him up against the wall. He didn't actually hit him, but he got charged for that. And it was a big, big story back in the mid-'80s. Bob at the time was the editor of the Hockey News. Now, you can't do that today. So what did Voracek do? He did the next best thing, and he gave it to him in that press conference post-game, sitting right beside former Ottawa 67, Travis Konechny, who had a hat trick last night. And you could see Konechny, he didn't know what the hell was going on. And Voracek's calling this guy everything under the sun that you could imagine. Personally, once I found out the backstory, zero problem with how it was handled. Now, I haven't seen anything today. Haven't seen any fallout on it today in terms of any repercussions, fines to Voracek, or follow-up from the Philadelphia Inquirer or anything. But we'll have to see. But that was the story of the night by far. And in the early going of the season here, at least off ice, that is the story. So we'll see how it plays out. I'll tell you what, I defy any one of you to Google and get this backstory on this guy and see the comments that he has been putting publicly. He's got like 20, 30,000 followers on Twitter. See the comments he's been putting publicly about Jakub Voracek. Reprehensible as a journalist. If you're some two-bit piece of crap, know-nothing blogger that's just gone on and posted something, who would even care? But this guy has got a platform to follow the Flyers on a regular basis. It's disgusting. So I got zero problem with Voracek's comments. So my prediction last night, Ottawa-Toronto, did not quite come to pass. Two parts to that game for sure. The Leafs dominated the first 30. The Sens dominated the next 30. Once they got that first goal, they scored on the 5-on-3, which it's so imperative to score on those 5-on-3s, even though goal scoring has gone up incrementally the last few years in the NHL. If you can score on a 5-on-3, it's just such a game changer. The Leafs did it to Montreal, on Wednesday night, and we saw Ottawa do it to Toronto last night. And they just seem to get a bit of a jump. And even though Toronto regained the lead 2-1, you could see that the Sens were coming. Anderson, another brutal net in net for Toronto, and the Sens really took that game over. They took it over physically, and obviously they took it over the scoreboard. There was really no answer. And the only pushback really from Toronto came late from Wayne Simmonds, at least physically, and there was no real pushback on the ice. They had some chances to extend that lead, and they could have definitely gone up by a couple earlier in the game. But give Ottawa credit. They took care of lanes. They blocked some shots, and they got some great goaltending from Matt Murray. He was very, very solid, and they got the W. Nobody predicted it, at least me not. I didn't anyway. So for tonight, I'm going to say that see, that's two real porous games for Toronto on defense right now. I mean, they did not deserve to beat the Habs either, and they got beat by Ottawa last night. Can you imagine if Ottawa was to get another W tonight? Oh, my God. That would be pretty incredible. But I'm going to call Toronto again tonight, but I'm going to call a closer game, and I'm going to say 4-3. I'm going to say 4-3 for Toronto, and I'm going to call same score for Edmonton-Montreal. I'm going to call the Oilers to beat the Habs 4-3, but I think it'll be extra time again, overtime or a shootout. I think that Montreal will play a strong game tonight, and I think we'll see more of what we saw in the Oilers' second game. I'm going to touch on that here in just a second as well, because I was watching the Colorado post game last night, and Peter McNabb, former NHLer, who is the answer to one of the greatest trivia questions of all time, by the way, when the Bruins got caught for too many men on the ice on Thursday night, May 10, 1979, the Bruin who served the too many men on the ice penalty that was caused by Stan Jonathan was Peter McNabb, number 8. And he was doing the color, he has for years for Colorado with Mark Moser on TV, and we caught a little bit of that post-game show last night, and he said that the Colorado Avalanche, since they have been in the NHL, 1995, that's 36 years now, that only one time prior to this season have they played the same team back-to-back nights in the same city. There was a configuration of the schedule during one of the lockouts, undoubtedly. Would have been probably 2013, more than likely. And he said this year, Colorado has 27 of those scenarios, which of course every other team does as well. And that's the thing, right? I mean, you're looking at how much we're investing in every single game that your favorite team is playing, because you need to see a response the next game. Right now, Toronto needs to respond tonight. Losing 2 in a row to Ottawa, look, it's not crippling. You still got 53 games to go, but every point's going to be so important in this sprint here. But the emphasis on coming back after a loss are going to be highlighted like never before in the NHL. And I thought that was a really interesting comment by McNabb last night, just highlighting the fact that how many games that every team is going to have to play in these scenarios, including, as we know, many teams, in fact, are playing 3 in a row, and in some cases 4 in a row. This is Major League Baseball stuff down the road here in just a few short months. So pretty crazy times, to say the least. For those of you wondering, statistically, in Colorado's 8-0 win in Game 2 of their short series here with the St. Louis Blues, they scored 5 power play goals last night. If you're wondering what the NHL record is, it's 7 in a regular season game, and it's shared by 3 teams: the Boston Bruins, the Washington Capitals, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Bruins pounded the Minnesota North Stars in a game in 1975. The Washington Capitals hammered the Toronto Maple Leafs in 1987. I think that game was 13-1. And then the Leafs, and this is the most recent one, they scored 7 power play goals in a 9-1 win over the Atlanta Thrashers in a game after the full season lockout in 2005-2006. So Colorado with 5 last night. Rantanen was flying, McKinnon was flying, Landeskog was flying. They all got on the scoreboard. They got the shutout, and they made St. Louis look pretty ordinary, not like 2 years ago with the Stanley Cup champ, that's for sure. So I think you'll see a lot of that, right? We saw it McDavid at Edmonton. We're going to see a lot of that this year, where you're going to see some significant bounce back. So do the Leafs have that in them tonight? And it's going to be very interesting to see. I'll make one other prediction. I think Wayne Simmonds and Austin Watson, are going at it 5 minutes or less into the game tonight. So set your PVR, folks, because most of you, of course, will be watching Montreal-Edmonton like I will. but we'll keep an eye out for that scrap, which I think will happen. That's pretty much it for today. Just a little finish on this day in hockey history. I want to throw these in as well. On this date in 1960, Gordie Howe became the all-time career scoring leader in the NHL. The Detroit Red Wings beat the Chicago Blackhawks January the 16th, 1960, 3-1. Gordie Howe got a goal and an assist to give him 947 career points, one more than Maurice the Rocket Richard. Two great number 9s. By the way, speaking of number 9s, sorry, one more little thing. Number 9 is the number retired the most in NHL history. It's retired for 13 different players for a total of 15 times, because Gordie Howe and Bobby Hull have each had it retired twice for two different teams. So 13 players 15 times. What sweater number is the second most retired in NHL history? We'll leave you with that one. We'll have it on the next edition of Liam's Hockey. Very happy to say a couple of sponsors have already reached out to me, and we'll have them coming up for you down the road as well. Enjoy the rest of your day. And, oh, wait a minute. Oh, a second here. Let's just have a little shot of whiskey. And I'll tell you exactly, I got 2 toasts. I'm going to toast Jakub Voracek for his comments last night against that gutless weasel. And I'm going to toast because I'm doing this on Saturday afternoon, so I've already had the privilege of seeing the first period of the Boston Bruins New Jersey Devils. And Kevin Miller beat the crap out of Miles Wood, who got 2 goalie interference penalties the game before against the Bruins, and Kevin Miller sorted him out right away. And that's the way it should be done in hockey. You got a guy who's going to run your goalie, deal with it immediately. It's still allowed in the game, thank God. So I'm toasting Voracek, and I'm toasting Kevin Miller right now. Everybody have a great one. G'day.